Okay, good to see everybody. Let's go ahead and come to a nice comfortable seat in your chair. So just, taking a moment to land here. Let's start forward in our chair today. So you're kind of forward on those sit bones. You can feel them rooting down into your chair. As always, if you wanted to take a block between your thighs or feet, sometimes that can be nice feedback. It certainly isn't necessary. Welcome, Jim. And then before we sit quietly here for just a few moments, let's give the shoulders a little roll out. And you can roll them forward. Good, and then you're gonna roll back again. And then really feel those shoulder blades release down your back. You can take your hands on your thighs. Close your eyes if that feels okay. You can also keep them open. If that's the case, you're just kind of gazing at something in front of you. You're keeping your gaze soft and gentle. Take a nice deep inhale through your nose. And open your mouth, sigh the breath out, let it go, ha. Couple times like that. Smooth, deep, full inhale. Maybe sip in a little more air. And then sigh the breath out, let it go, ha. One final time like that. Smooth, deep, full inhale. You'll feel that stretch across your collarbones, that lift of your sternum. Open your mouth, sigh the breath out, let it go, ha. And then allow your lips to seal. Start to inhale through your nose and then also exhale through your nose. And you might be constricting the sides of your throat a little bit, so finding your ujjayi breath, that certainly isn't necessary. But you are taking stock right away. You're noticing how your breath feels right now, starting out. You're listening to your breath. It's like it becomes your soundtrack for your yoga practice. You're observing if the inhale feels easier today. Maybe the exhale feels a little easier. You're noticing, and then we're going to be here for a few moments, and you're going to try to find an evenness between the inhale and the exhale. Sometimes it can be helpful to count the breath starting out, so inhaling to 5 or 6, and then you could exhale to that same number. A lot of times the counting the breath gives the brain something to chew on, to focus on. So you start to just find this nice rhythm. It almost feels a little bit like quiet sitting meditation. On your inhale, find length through the sides of your waist and your spine. It's like you're growing a little taller. And as you exhale, you hold on to all of that height you've kept or found, but then root down into your sit bones, you empty out. So everything contracts inward. And then do a little scan of your body. Notice if you're holding tension anywhere, if you're gripping anywhere. For most of us, that's going to be in the shoulders. They like to creep up towards the ears. Fingers and the toes can get tense. The face, the jaw can get really tense. So make sure you're not clenching in any of those places. So yes, you're sitting with some effort, but it should also feel easy. Always returning to that sound of your breath. So your attention's going to wander from time to time. You're going to get distracted by the sounds happening in the room that you're in. You're going to especially get distracted by thoughts coming in and out of your mind. That's like part of the process. It's okay. This doesn't have to look perfect. It can't. But we do want to practice this piece of noticing when our attention has drifted, and then we just come back to our breath. You might have to do it 1,000 times the next hour. So on your next inhale, go ahead and gently blink your eyes open. And then let's start to just circle around. So you can stay seated, but you start to rock and make little circles. Finding a little movement. It can be big, it can be small. You can get the neck, the head, the shoulders involved. Welcome, Amy. Good, and then you can just start to switch directions here. And you might notice that it feels really good to move, especially this kind of movement. We don't do it a lot in yoga. It's kind of a nice way to get into the lumbar, the hips. Looks good, Chris. And then you can start to make this movement a little slower, little smaller. And then you're gonna eventually find both of those sit bones pressing evenly into your chair. So we're coming back to our Tadasana, our home base, our mountain pose. And then from here, we're gonna start to rock forward and back. So as you inhale, you'll rock forward on your sit bones. You're arching a lot in your lumbar. Sternum is gently lifting. As we exhale, we go back in the opposite direction into our cat stretch, chin towards chest. Inhaling, arching. Good, exhale, you round in. And continue like this. You might close your eyes if that feels good. Oftentimes it helps us to draw inward a little bit. You might keep your eyes open, but you're keeping that gaze soft and gentle. So with this movement, we're putting the spine in flexion and then extension. So this cat-cow just serves to warm up the spine. But then also we're connecting breath with movement. So we start to find this idea of vinyasa, which can be really simple like this cat-cow. It can be a little more complex like our sun salutes. Then I want you to observe if the act of moving like this, you could even think of this as like a spinal stim. Does this help you to quiet the mind a little bit? And it might not. That's fine too. But sometimes moving with the breath helps us to find this idea of almost like this moving meditation. As we continue here, if you'd like to add your arms, so you can start to warm up that shoulder girdle, you're welcome to. So as you inhale, you might reach that right arm forward. And then exhale, you can release down. Inhale, extending that left arm forward. Beautiful. As you exhale, release. And then just continuing like this for several rounds of breath. And always, important to note that it's best to move with your breath. So your pace on any given day might be a little different than mine. If that is where you're at, honor that. Sometimes our bodies want to move a little faster. Sometimes they want to move a little slower. Some days we're feeling anxious, so it feels better to slow things down. We kind of use the breath as a means of almost like modifying how we're feeling energetically a little bit. You're feeling really lethargic and kind of sleepy. Sometimes it's helpful to move faster. If you'd like to add both arms here, you can play with that. And of course, as you know, you can always try a variation, but if it doesn't work, you just go back to where you were before. Let's do a few more rounds here. Really bring your attention back to your breath, to the sound of that breath, that inhale through your nose. And that exhale through your nose. Good. If you're doing opposite hands, just make sure that you end probably on that left hand so you're nice and even. And then let's come back to a nice seat. And you can make any little adjustments that you need to. It's always kind of good to just check in with your mountain pose again. Make sure that you have that knee over ankle alignment, that you're pressing down into your sit bones. You're lengthening through the sides of your waist. And then let's go ahead and just bend our elbows, and you can just bring your fingertips to your shoulder heads. Keep those shoulder blades releasing down your back though, and then you can firm muscle to bone in your arms. And then let's just take a nice deep inhale here. As you exhale, tiny little twist to the right. Inhale back to center. And then exhale, little twist to the left. Inhale, center, and then just continue like this. Few rounds to each side. So you're keeping your trunk nice and even. It's just your upper body that is twisting. And you might notice with the arms in this variation, it doesn't feel like you twist quite as far. Also, we're very early in our practice, so things aren't super warm yet. So just a little movement is absolutely fine. And then the next time you are exhaling off to the right, just stay there. Good. Lift the elbows a little higher and then start to straighten the arms. Nice. Really stretch out and then just gently release your hands down. Your left hand might come to your left thigh. It might come to that right thigh. A lot of this just depends on your own body and how it's feeling today. Press shoulder heads back. It's like we're getting a little cobra pose in our upper body. Feel that lift of your sternum. And then maybe you start to bring your gaze in the direction of your right shoulder. A lot of that will be determined on how your neck is feeling today. Breath smooth and steady. All right, so from here, let's go ahead and stay in the twist, but inhale, reach your arms out wide again. Exhale, bend the elbows. Inhale, back to center. Beautiful. As you exhale, twist to the left. Inhale, straighten the arms, really reach out. And then as you exhale, release your hands down. So right hand can come to right thigh, left thigh. You're just grabbing a piece of chair behind you with that left hand. You're rooting evenly into your sit bones, and then you're wrapping these right ribs to the left. Nice work, everyone. These look great. And then you might move towards bringing your gaze out over that left shoulder. You might be getting curious about how this side feels different in your body. Really trying to fill up on the inhale. As you empty out on your exhale, as everything contracts in, maybe you twist a little deeper. It might just be a thought. Good, one more deep inhale. Full, complete exhale. And then again, let's inhale, stay in the twist, but just take your arms out nice and wide. And then go ahead and bend your elbows on the exhale. Inhale, come back to center. Good, and then you can release your arms by your sides. Let's take our hands to our thighs and let's do a little neck stretching here. So nice and simple starting out as always. Go ahead and just drop your chin towards your chest. And just remember that simple doesn't mean easy. For most of us, the back of the neck really wants to grip. The shoulders want to help out, so they're creeping up towards the ears. So you're just dropping your chin towards your chest. And then you might just visualize your inhale, like your sternum as it expands, it's lifting up towards your chin. And then exhale, everything contracts in. Let's go ahead and inhale, lift your chin parallel to the floor. And then exhale, we're going to just drop our right ear towards our right shoulder. And all of the same things apply here. So you're going to really start to feel the stretch on the left side of your neck, those scalene muscles. The right shoulder is probably going to want to pop up and help out, soften it down. You're going to feel a lot of sensation in the left side of the neck here. Maybe just visualize your breath going to that area, kind of just creating some space and ease, kind of combing out any tangles that might be there. And as always, back out a little bit if you need to. If it's particularly intense, do less. I'm a huge fan of less is more. Let's stay here like this. If you would like to go ahead and just tuck your chin a little bit. So we're kind of off to the side and then angling that chin down. And that's going to shift where you're getting the sensation. I start to get it more in the back of the shoulder, the back of the neck. Notice if your breath starts to catch, particularly if this is intense in your body. Always checking in with our breath, always returning to that nice, smooth, deep inhale. That full, complete exhale. On your next inhale, go ahead and lift your chin. Take an exhale here. And then inhale back to center. And then exhale, we drop that left ear to left shoulder. And we make sure that the shoulder isn't trying to help out the situation here. You bring your attention to that right side of the neck. And you just kind of assess what's going on. You notice what's happening. And keep your breath smooth and steady. And then here, start to tuck the chin and notice how it shifts where you're getting sensation in the pose. Listening to your breath. Good. As you inhale, lift your chin, take an exhale. And then inhale up to center. As we exhale again, we drop our chin towards our chest. So maybe it's feeling a little easier. Maybe it's not. You're observing, you're noticing. This is one of the great benefits and gifts of our yoga practice. This is training ourselves to pay attention, to ask questions, to get curious, and then to make little adjustments. Or maybe even not to make little adjustments, but to just be where we're at. To be good with that. All right, so we're going to keep the chin tucked like this, nice and slow. Take several breaths as you start to bring your right ear towards your right shoulder. And you're going to start to feel sensation in all these different places. Sometimes it's going to be quite intense. If you get to those spots, you might want to linger there for a breath or two. Check in with your breath again. Make sure that you're not holding it. So just trying to find this sense of spaciousness, this sense of ease in the neck and shoulder area. Kind of easier said than done. These are places that carry a lot of tension. They carry a pretty big load. The neck especially, relative to the size of the skull, the brain. All right, so if you'd like to intensify things a little bit here, maybe you release your left fingertips off your thigh. These look good, everyone. And again, just keep that breath moving. Keep sending your exhale to this left side of your neck. If you want to get into the armpit chest a little, perhaps you start to lift that left arm any amount. And then some days that feels like really good in my body. Some days it feels like too much. So you can always try something and decide, hey, not today. Go ahead and release that left arm down. And then if you'd like to take your right hand on top of your head, so nice and gentle, you're just using it as a little weight to help you stretch a little more. And then regardless of whether or not you're using this variation, take your right hand to your cheek. Use the strength of your arm to lift your head, really nice. And then we'll come to that second side. So again, just dropping your chin towards your chest, trying to release and lengthen the back of the neck, the cervical spine. Hopefully at this stage it is feeling a little easier being in this position. And then here we go. So we're making that journey to the left side. You keep your chin tucked. You take several breaths as you move towards bringing that left ear towards your left shoulder. Breath is smooth and steady. How is this side different in your body? Just noticing. If you wanted to release those right fingertips down, it's like you're using your arm as a weight to just intensify the stretch. Just because you did it on the last side doesn't mean you need to do it on this side. If you want to start to lift from the inseam of that right arm, I immediately feel it kind of on the bottom side. I feel it in the armpit area a little bit. Forearm area. It can actually be quite intense. Particularly when things get intense, we sometimes hold the breath, keep it moving. Good, let's release that right hand down if you took that variation. Then if you wanted to bring your left hand to the top of your head, just applying as much pressure as you need to give you a little more sensation, a little more stretch. Good, let's take our left hand to our left cheek. Use the strength of your arm to lift your head. And then again, let's just you can roll, do some little neck rolls, maybe some little shoulder rolls, just kind of shake that all out. So just a little free form movement. Try to let that all go. And when you feel complete there, let's find our Tadasana pose. And let's move into a few sun salutes, and then we're going to do a little hip stretching. So if you do have blocks close by, this is a great place to use them. They're not necessary, but you certainly could set these up by your feet. They are essentially bringing the floor a little closer to you. Find your nice mountain pose so you can release your arms by your sides. Palms are a little external rotation at the shoulder. And then as we inhale, we're going to take the arms either out and up, or you could also reach forward and up if that feels better in your body or if it works better in the space that you're in. Let's take a couple of breaths here. You might start to bring your gaze up. You could imagine that somebody is holding you by your wrist, just gently tractioning you up. You're getting longer in your spine. You might be bringing your gaze up. A few of us might even press palms together. That's going to be more challenging if your shoulders are tighter. From here, we're going to fold into our Uttanasana. So this could look like a couple of things. You might kind of swan dive in. You also might use the support of your hands to help you roll on down. Your fingertips could dangle on the floor or the blocks here. Can you drop your chin towards your chest? So you're really rounding in the cervical and the thoracic spine. So again, we're finding that flexion of the spine. That happens anytime we're in these forward fold positions. On your next inhale, this is where you might take your hands to your blocks. They can press down, and then you lengthen through the sides of your waist. So we're coming back into extension. So back bending shape. Your hands could also be on your shins or your thighs. You're inhaling through your nose. You're exhaling through your nose. Notice if your shoulders are dipping down, gently press them back. These look beautiful. As we exhale, we fold back into our Uttanasana. And we're kind of just using gravity here to assist us in finding space between the discs and our vertebra. From here, a couple of options. If you want to get into the core a little bit, if you feel stable and you want a little challenge, maybe you take those arms out wide. But you could also use your hands to help you roll on up. They're both good. The beautiful thing about these sun salutes is that we can mix and match a little bit. Lovely. As we exhale, we bring hands to heart center. So this time we're going to flow this together. So this is another kind of vinyasa. It's maybe a little more complex than that cat-cow. Starting in our Tadasana, our mountain pose. As we inhale, you reach out and up or forward and up. Really lovely, everybody. As you exhale, you roll into your Uttanasana, or maybe you dive in. Inhale, we come into our Ardha Uttanasana. Ardha means half, so this is our half forward fold. It's like a cobra pose. As you exhale, you fold back in. And then inhale, rising up, stretching out, taking up lots of space. Utthita Hastasana into Dasana. And then as you exhale, hands come together at your heart. Let's do one more like that together, and then I'll give you the opportunity to do a couple on your own. So inhaling, reaching, flowing with the breath here, just letting this feel very graceful and easy. As we exhale, we fold in. On our inhale, we lengthen. Exhale, we fold back in. Inhaling, pressing, rooting into your sit bones, your feet, so you can lift up and extend through the sides of your waist. Really lovely. Exhale, we return to our Samastitihi, even standing. So let's do two more of these. I'm not going to cue you. You can move at your own pace. You can follow along with me if that feels better. You might have your eyes closed if that feels good. Mostly, let these feel really graceful and lovely in your body. Find this sense of spaciousness inside your body and maybe even in your brain, your mind. Soak up that sound of your breath. So you have two of these. There's absolutely no rush. When you're done with that second round, you're just pausing in your Tadasana, Samastitihi, even standing. So palms together at your heart. You close your eyes here. And you're doing a little check-in. You're asking yourself how you're feeling. You're noticing what's going on with your breath, with your heartbeat. You're taking your temperature. So those sun salutes are great for building a little heat. So you might be feeling a little warmer. I also find those sun salutes to be very kind of calming, joyful. And so just observing where you're at, what's going on for you. And then let's just find a little more flow here. So blink your eyes open, release your hands down, getting into the side stretching of the body. And then as promised, we'll come into our hips. So as we inhale, you're gonna lean off to the right, take that left arm up and over. Exhale, release down. And then inhale, really root into both sit bones, but find all of this length through the right side as that right arm comes up and over. And exhale, release. Good, inhale. Exhale, and you're just continuing like this. Again, speed this up if that feels good for you. Slow it down if that feels better. And whereas our cat-cow is kind of like a forward and back spinal stem, this is more of that side to side. So we're hitting the spine in all directions, which is a really good thing to do. Trying to get all of that synovial fluid moving and working. And then we're also just finding this rhythm, enjoying how that feels. These look so lovely, everybody. The next time you're leaning off to your right, we're going to just take a few breaths and hang out there. Observe if that right shoulder's creeping up, soften it down. Anchor into that left sit bone, let it feel heavy. That might mean you need to back out of the side stretch a little bit. As you're lengthening through this left side, maybe you're wrapping these right ribs up towards the ceiling. Exhale, release that left arm down, and then inhale, right arm up and over. Anchor into your right sit bone. Use that groundedness to help you find extension all the way through this right side as you reach through those fingertips. Keep releasing that left shoulder down. Maybe you turn your gaze up underneath that right arm. Maybe not. Breath smooth and steady. Good, deep inhale. And then exhale, come back to center. So let's get into the hips here. Couple of options available. So if you can, it's accessible in your body to cross your right ankle above your left knee. You can take that variation. As you come here, if you notice that there's any sensation in this knee joint that doesn't feel good, flexing this foot can help. Sometimes it's just not a good pose to do in your body. So if that's where you're at today, you also might be finding the hip opener by simply opening this right leg up any amount. And that's going to just be dictated by our individual bodies and how things are feeling. You can think of this almost as our warrior two legs. We are trying to land with our right knee over our right ankle. In this configuration that I'm in right now, too, you're kind of getting the extra sensation of stretching out the inner thigh in addition to the hip area, the glute, the outer thigh. You might feel a little groin stretch here too. So sometimes that can be nice. And in fact, sometimes it's nice if you always do the seated pigeon just to mix it up. If you're in these warrior two legs and you want a little more, you could use the strength of your arm to help press that knee back. So it's like you're getting a little more opening. If you're in the seated version, you could press your right hand down. So you're helping that thigh to release towards the floor. And then this can be really intense. So connect with your breath, maybe inhaling to the count of 5 or 6, and then exhaling to that same number again. That idea of giving your brain a little something to chew on. For many of us, when we come into these static, longer held poses, the chatter in the brain kicks up. We start thinking about things. We get distracted a little more easily. Just observe if that's true for you. Good. So let's stay in this configuration, but let's go ahead and inhale, take the arms out wide. So you can either be doing these warrior two legs like me, or you might be doing that seated pigeon pose. Nice deep inhale here. And then take an exhale. Feel those shoulder blades release down your back. As you inhale, take that right arm up and over. So again, we're just in this little side stretch. This is almost like a reverse warrior. Couple breaths here like this. If you're feeling a little spicy today, maybe you reach that left arm up. So you're going to start to get some oblique stretch here on the right side. You can always try it and be like, this is awful. I'm not doing it. That's absolutely fine. And then you can kind of think outer hip squeezing in, using your core a little bit. You inhale up to center. And then let's exhale, take the arms out wide again. Nice deep inhale. And then exhale, you're going to kind of hinge at that right hip crease, and you can be doing that here too. Just take your right hand somewhere on that right thigh, and then you can take this top arm up and over. So now we're getting this side stretch, the extension here on the left side. You might be gazing up underneath that top arm. This is like a Parsvakonasana, extended side angle pose. Definitely a challenging one for most of us. It's kind of like a hurt so good. And I suppose even here, if you wanted to extend through that right arm, gonna get a little more kind of side ab work here. Good. Make sure that you're still breathing and maybe even smiling a little bit, especially if you're feeling it. You're probably gonna for sure feel it tomorrow. You're welcome for that. All right, and then inhale, come on up. Very nice. As we exhale, we'll release the arms down. And then just to get into the hips a little more, we're gonna take a forward fold here. So if you're in this variation, ankle above knee, you can kind of just use that little shelf. You also have your blocks here. You could use those. And then the same thing holds true in this variation. Just releasing on down. Can you let your chin drop towards your chest so you're really finding space and length on the back of your neck? Reconnect with that sound of your breath, that inhale through your nose, that exhale through your nose. And then like your little rag doll here, we're going to just start to roll on up. You could use your hands on your thighs to help you come there. But just take your time. You're stacking your vertebrae on top of each other from the bottom of your spine all the way to the top. When your head lifts, you might get a little bit of a head rush there. Beautiful. So we'll take that to the second side. So finding your Tadasana first, and just know that side to side, the pose might look a little different. So what you did on the last side might not be what you do on this side. Our options again are to find this warrior two leg. So in addition to the hip and glute stretch, you're also getting some stretch on the inseam of the leg, which can feel really nice. You also might take that left ankle above your right knee, always making sure that you don't have any sensation in the knee joint that doesn't feel good. So we want to protect that. This left hand might be applying a little pressure. You might not need that. My hips are feeling pretty tight today in this position. So just being here like this is a good amount of work. If you have your warrior two legs, you might be taking your hand and gently pressing back. You're asking yourself, how does this side feel different in my body? Does it feel different? Good, couple more breaths here. And then we're gonna move towards that reverse warrior feeling. So go ahead and release your arms by your sides. Inhale, take the arms out wide. Take an exhale here, feel those shoulder blades release down your back. And then inhale, release your right hand down. That top arm comes up and over. So we're finding our side stretch again. And you also might notice that this just shifts where you're getting that stretch in your lower body. You might be gazing up underneath that top arm. Really reach through those left fingertips. Imagine that somebody, again, is just holding onto your wrists, giving you a little tractioning. And if you want to spice things up, you could just imagine that you're holding a beach ball between your hands. And then you're thinking a little core work here to inhale, rise up to center. So nice. As you exhale, take the arms out wide again. Nice deep inhale. And then exhale, it's like a little lengthening, a little shift. It's like I'm a little teapot. And then you can take that left hand to your thigh. And then this right arm comes up and over. So just reversing sides here, we're getting this lengthening through the right side, little oblique work. Breath is smooth and steady. You're inhaling through your nose, you're exhaling through your nose. Maybe you're bringing your gaze up underneath that top arm. Maybe you're floating that left arm up here. I think that this side is harder. Yep, you take breaks when you need to. As we inhale, we come up to center. So good. Release your hands down. And then just to intensify the hip stretch a bit, you start to hinge forward, fold in. And it need not be very deep at all. For a lot of us, just sitting upright, getting into the hips is plenty. Certainly you can use your blocks or a table in front of you if you want to go a little further and have a little support. Can you send your exhale to that outer left hip, that glute area? And you're visualizing that it's helping to create some space, some ease. It's helping to open things up. Beautiful work. Let's use our hands. Well, actually, let's do it the same way we did last time. So you can kind of tuck your chin towards your chest here, surrounding in your spine. And then rolling up like a rag doll. So stacking the vertebrae on top of each other. Your head is the last thing to come up. You might get a little head rush there. Beautiful work. Let's go ahead and come back to our Tadasana, our mountain pose. And we're going to move into a little breath work here before we find our Shavasana. This class is just going very fast today, which is, I guess, a good thing. I don't know. Y'all might not be feeling like it's going very fast. It's going fast for me. All right. So we're going to do our wave breath. So as you know, with our wave breath, we're taking an inhale and then an exhale. Then the next inhale is going to be a little deeper. We're going to fill up a little more. So you can visualize this like sets of waves that are coming in. You're sitting on the shore and you're watching them. So the first set that comes in, the first wave is a little smaller. The next one is bigger. The next one is bigger still. So finding your nice tall seat, you can close your eyes here. Let's take a nice deep inhale together. Full complete exhale together. Little pause at the bottom. And then just inhale. It's kind of shallow, not your biggest breath. And then exhale through your nose. Next inhale, you're going to inhale a little more. Exhale the breath out. We're going to inhale a little more still. Exhale the breath out. And then this is your fullest, biggest inhale yet. Fill up, feel that lift of your sternum as your shoulder blades release down your back, and then slowly exhale the air out through your nose. And then when you reach the bottom, just take a couple of just regular breaths. And then we're going to do that again. So you can just imagine that you're sitting on the beach, you're looking at the horizon, you're seeing those waves coming in. Full, smooth, deep inhale. Full, complete exhale, empty out. First wave's coming in, sip in a little air. And exhale. Inhale a little deeper. Let the breath go. Exhale through your nose. Next wave's coming in, bigger still. Exhale. And it looks like there's 2 more waves, so let's inhale a little more. Exhale the breath out through your nose. And this is the biggest wave, so it's going to be your biggest, fullest breath. Inhale. Exhale the air out through your nose. Couple rounds of recovery breath here. And then I invite you to do 2 more rounds of that wave breath on your own. And you can decide if it's, a set of 3 waves or 4 waves or 5 waves. Between each set that you're doing, just take a few rounds of easy recovery breath. And when you're complete with your wave breath, there's no rush to get there. You're finding some form of final resting pose here. So you're probably going to stay exactly where you are, but you're just shifting the feeling tone. Maybe you're still imagining that you're sitting on a beach somewhere. You can hear the sound of the breeze and the waves. You can smell the salty air. You can feel the sun on your skin. So perhaps letting that visualization just transport you, help you to find this place of ease and comfort and stillness. Of course, you're always welcome to take a forward fold here if that feels more relaxing. You could always come into a classic Shavasana on the floor, so laying down on the ground if that feels good. But whatever you're doing, let your breath find its own natural rhythm here. Let your brain get quiet and still. Shavasana. Asato ma satgamaya. Tamaso ma jyotirgamaya. Mrityorma mritam gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om. Let your next inhale be deeper. And you can open your mouth, sigh the breath out, let it go. Ha. And start to wiggle your fingers and toes, just bringing a little movement back to your body. Maybe stretching out. So just anything that feels good here. You're going to eventually land with your hands in a pile on top of your heart. You're sending yourself love and gratitude. Sending each other love and gratitude. It's a gift to be able to work like this together, to move like this. So finally, just promise yourself that you're going to carry this good feeling with you into the rest of the day, the rest of the week, weekend ahead. And finally, just bow your head with a smile.